Today, we're going to understand how large financial organizations actually design their network security. This isn't a single firewall sitting in front of a server. It's a layered security architecture, multiple zones, multiple controls, and multiple teams working together so that even if one layer fails, the next one catches it. Let's break it down, layer by layer. Traffic from the internet doesn't land directly on a bank's servers. It passes through a chain of zones, each one more trusted than the last. First, the edge router. This is the entry point into the organization's network. Next, the perimeter firewall, the first real security checkpoint, inspecting everything that tries to come in. From there, traffic enters the DMZ, or Demilitarized Zone. This is where internet-facing systems live: web servers, public applications, and the reverse proxy or WAF that inspects application traffic. Behind the DMZ sits the application zone, application servers and APIs that process business logic. This zone is never directly exposed to the internet. Deeper still is the database zone. Customer data and core banking systems live here, isolated behind additional firewall rules. And finally, the internal user network: employees, internal tools, and internal-only systems, kept separate from everything customer-facing. Each of these zones has its own set of controls. Let's go layer by layer. Perimeter layer. At the perimeter, next-generation firewalls from vendors like Palo Alto, FortiGate, or Check Point handle the first line of defense. This includes IPS and threat prevention to catch known attack patterns, URL filtering to block malicious or inappropriate sites, and anti-malware inspection on incoming traffic. DMZ security. Inside the DMZ, a web application firewall protects public-facing applications from attacks like SQL injection and cross-site scripting. Load balancers distribute traffic across servers for both performance and resilience. And firewall rules here are deliberately restrictive. DMZ systems are only allowed to talk to exactly what they need, nothing more. Internal segmentation. Moving inward, an internal firewall separates zones from each other: DMZ from application, application from database. VLAN segmentation further isolates traffic at the network level. And the guiding principle throughout is least privilege access. Every system and every user gets the minimum access required to do its job, and nothing more. Identity security. Access itself is tightly controlled. Multi-factor authentication protects logins. Identity and access management, or IAM, governs who exists in the system and what they're allowed to do. Role-based access control, RBAC, ties permissions to job function rather than individual users, so access stays consistent and auditable. Monitoring. And across all of this, a security information and event management system, SIEM, tools like Splunk collects logs from every layer in real time. A security operations center, the SOC team, watches those logs around the clock, investigating alerts and responding to anything suspicious before it becomes a breach. Let's make this concrete. A customer opens the bank's website. First, DNS resolution. The browser looks up the bank's domain and gets an IP address. That traffic reaches the perimeter firewall, where a security policy check decides whether the connection is even allowed through. If it passes, it hits the WAF, which inspects the actual request for anything malicious, injection attempts, abnormal payloads, bot behavior. Clean traffic moves on to application processing, where the app server handles the login or the page request. If it needs data, the application makes a database query, but only through a tightly controlled path, never a direct connection from the outside. And at every single one of these steps, logs are sent to the SIEM. Nothing here happens invisibly, every request leaves a trail the SOC team can review. That's the layered approach real financial institutions use, no single point of failure, every layer backing up the one before it. If you want the next video to go deeper into any one of these layers, let me know in the comments.